Hey guys, this is Callum from EnglishShooting, and today I have the Vortex Optics Razor HD Gen 2 1:6 by 24 rifle scope. I was very kindly given this by Vortex to be my practical scope and to review for you guys. I have to be completely honest, and I've said this many times before, that this exact scope is my dream scope. When I first saw it at the British shooting show and compared it to a lot more expensive scopes, I just fell in love with it and just was dreaming that one day I could put it on my rifle and use it. And well, here it is. Straight off the bat, you can just tell the step up in quality compared to the boxes and packaging that they put other Vortex products into. You start to get a feel that you've just bought something very special. Even the documentation and the warranty information is just a step up. The quality of the paper that they use, again, to go with that whole theme that this is a top level scope. And just a reminder that you've bought something that has been directly made with the help of the man himself, Jerry Miculek. And this exact scope features the JM1 BDC reticle, the one that was designed for 3-gun multi-gun shooting, and of course the scope that JM uses himself. The first impression when you open the box and you start to handle this scope is just how superb quality it is, even compared to the new Gen 2 PST, which has a superb finish itself. This just takes it to another level and is just a pleasure to just hold, feel and look at. Within the box you get a battery, which is always a nice feature. You don't have to rush down the shops and get it yourself. You get a lovely cleaning cloth, but let's get rid of the packaging and have a closer look at the scope. Now, one thing I don't usually like to jump straight into is price, but given that this is one of the most expensive scopes that Vortex make, I feel that it's necessary, and actually I need to grab another scope to do the full comparison. And this is of course the new Gen 2 PST, which I've recently done a video of, and these share a lot of features, but you can see when put next to each other that there is a difference. There is a noticeable difference in quality. Everything's just a little bit crisper, sharper, looks a little nicer on the Razor HD. And yes, okay, it has the same turrets, it looks the same, but it's little features like the locking illumination adjustment on the side. You adjust what you want, lock it back in. You can't do that with the Gen 2 PST. And yes, they share very similar optics, but I'll get onto that in a second. So on cost, the recommended retail price in the US is $2,000. They can be picked up for about £1,300 new in the UK, and I'm pretty sure you can get a reasonable discount in the US as well. For comparison, the recommended retail price of the new PST is $1,000, and they can be picked up in the UK for about £700. So you're looking double the price, which for two scopes that on the face of it look very similar. But here we're talking about the marginal gains and the marginal differences, and we all know with shooting it's those marginal gains that will always cost the most. It's always disproportional trying to gain that extra last 2% of performance compared to the other 98%, and that is very applicable with this scope. So yes, it makes the Gen 2 PST like an absolute bargain, and I will probably say for the majority of shooters out there, you are probably worth going for the Gen 2 PST. But if you want to take your shooting to the next level, if you're looking for that top level advantage, those marginal gains, then it's got to be the Razor HD for you. So what does make this Razor HD double the price of the Gen 2 PST? Well, as I said, it really is the little things, stuff like the locking illumination wheel. You can see just how much sharper and crisper everything is on the scope. Things like the turret caps, yes, they still feel a little bit thin compared to the rest of the scope, but They're some of the highest quality turret caps that I've ever played with, to the point where usually the turret caps are a little gritty, they may not engage just as nice, but this, you can just flick it shut like that. You can see the writing and just the finish on it, again, is just a step above. The lenses and the optics inside, the glass, yes, it shares pretty much identical glass to the Gen 2 PST, but it's the amount of treatment and finishes that they've put on there. They have their APO system, which actually helps enhance and correct the colour across the whole of the spectrum. It's got the optically indexed lenses, the HD lens elements, the XR Plus fully multi-coated, so again this helps deliver the highest level of light transmission. Again, you're going to notice that comparing the Gen 2 PST and the Razer HD, the clarity of this glass and just the colour differentiation, the colour differences you're going to see and pick up on, and that's where you're going to notice the difference in competition. When you're in a low light forest and you're looking for that awkward target that they've put right into the bushes, you're going to be able to pick it out just that little bit easier with this scope compared to the Gen 2 PST. And yes, you might think, well, for double the price I might want to take an extra second for that shot, but when you're competing at the top level, a second, half a second can usually mean the difference between third and first place. I've said so many times it has this portal effect. You look down it, the whole scope just seems to disappear and you get this wonderful field of view. You just look down it and there's almost like this magnified bubble floating in front of you, and I've never experienced that with any other scope. And when I first got hold of this in the Great British Shooting Show and compared it to the I think quite a high top spec Schmidt & Bender, I genuinely preferred this. I thought the clarity was better and the way that the scope just seemed to melt away when you look down it was like nothing I had ever experienced. As I said, it is the 1:6, so you've got the 1:6 magnification, that one magnification being perfect for multi-gun, 3-gun use, and of course it has the JM-1 reticle, which was specifically designed in collaboration with Jerry Miculek for a multi-gun, 3-gun environment. This scope is truly best of both worlds. You can crank it up to 6 times magnification and take those long range 600-yard shots, and then you can wind it back down to ×1 and with the reticle use it like a red dot. That's exactly what I used to do with my Gen 1 PST. That's what I was doing obviously out in the States with the Gen 2 PST, but this is the Mac Daddy when it comes to it. You can genuinely use this like a red dot, like an EOTech or an aim point, and then you can just crank it up and use it for those long range shots. Again, something that makes it perfect for 3-gun, multi-gun competitions where you're going to encounter a range of distances and scenarios while you're shooting. The tube itself, it's a 30mm tube, just like most Vortex scopes, and the whole construction is made out of aircraft grade aluminium. It's got one of the largest field of views that Vortex make, larger than the Gen 2 PST. You're going to see more, you're going to react to more, it's going to give you that competitive edge. It is a bit of a weighty girl, and I would say that definitely is a negative of this scope. Comes in at 25.2 ounces compared to the Gen 2 PST at 22.7 ounces. It's got more weight, and certainly putting it onto the Smith & Wesson 1522, which is my practical gun, it does make the gun a little top heavy, but with all the clarity and benefits and that reticle, that's a price worth paying. Certainly for its more intended use on a 223 or 308, a full billet construction gun, an AR-15 in metal, you're not going to notice the difference as much. They are fairly weighty guns to start with. The Smith & Wesson just happens to be quite light. You've then got your magnification adjustment. This is really nice to handle. Unfortunately, suffers from the same Vortex curse of being incredibly stiff. Although this does feature the JM-1 BDC reticle, and that is the reticle that I certainly would recommend going for, certainly for 3-gun practical shooting. It does also offer a MOA and MRAD reticle that you can go to, so 3 in total. But really, this was made for a specific purpose, and you've got to get that JM reticle. The dot on it is just absolutely superb, just so fine and crisp. You can adjust it to suit any light conditions, searing desert bright sunlight, or turn it right down for those low light shooting conditions. It really is, in my book, the king of 3-gun scopes. And yes, I'm going to be biased. I'm a Vortex whore. It's my dream scope, but it's my dream scope for a reason. This was before I'd even started doing sort of Vortex reviews that I fell in love with this scope, and I fell in love with it for a reason, because in my books I think it's the best out there for 3-gun multi-gun. The finish is superb. Everything you touch is just lovely to engage with. Superb quality glass, super clear, a large field of view, a reticle designed specifically for 3-gun to make you those fractions of seconds faster. What more could you ask for? Yes, compared to other Vortex scopes, it is a little pricey and certainly comes in at the top level. But compared to the other competitors, the Smith & Benders, the Night Forces, the Zeisses, I think you're getting an outstanding bargain. And let's not forget the unlimited Vortex warranty. You can have full confidence to throw this scope around, beat it up and use it for the purpose it is intended. And if it does get battered, if it does get broken, you send it back to Vortex and they will repair or replace it. There's very few manufacturers out there that offer that sort of service and that sort of warranty. If you're looking for the absolute nuts of a 3-gun practical scope, do not look any further. If you're looking at having something that's good but you're not yet competing for the 3rd, 2nd and 1st places, I would recommend the Gen 2 PST. That's still an absolutely astounding scope for the money. This is for the pro level, this is for the top level, the people that are fighting for the 1st places. And you can always buy the Gen 2 PST, they hold the value really well. All Vortex scopes seem to. When you want to take it to the next level, trade it in, sell it, and go and get the Razor HD Gen 2 1:6x24. There we go, guys. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. And as always, I hope to see you soon.